Okay, here we go. Oh, welcome to another episode. Yes, Wendy, say hello. Oh, say hello to everybody in your Christmas jumper. Beautiful. Very good. Don't sit with your back to them. Pour. Good gal. Pour. Good gal. There you go. Right, come on then. I need to show the people how to make their snowflake. Wendy, come on then. We are getting closer and closer to the big day. If you've still got Christmas shopping to do, stuck for some gift ideas, just spend 10 minutes watching me messing around here, and you never know, you could come up with the perfect present. Hi, I'm Dom, and welcome to my grotto. If you have got a family member or friend who loves spending some time out in the shed, crafting, making, working on things, building things, I think they would really appreciate this decoration. I've gone and raided my screw shelf and got various boxes here with different mixed bags of different size screws, and we are going to glue all of these together to make a three-dimensional spinning snowflake feeling decoration. I think the first thing to do is to try and get a bit of an idea of what we're trying to achieve. Obviously, we all know what snowflakes look like. This is like almost like a star, like coming. I'm imagining it's all coming from the middle, and with sort of beams coming out, and those beams coming out are the nails. You could use old rusty nails, screws. I mean, whatever you can find. Everyone will have a jam jar somewhere in the shed with old screws in. These actually are all brand new, but it doesn't matter. I've got the biggest ones I could find. They're going to form the first sort of cross shape. So I'll start two-dimensional on the table, just laying things out, getting an idea. And then what's the next size down I've got? 70s, 80s. Here we go. Right, these can be my little diagonals. So it's going to end up with one coming out of here as well. Then there can be some there as well. When you're starting a project like this, however simple and straightforward it seems, I think it's best to sometimes get a pen and paper, draw it out, sketch it out, have an idea in your head before you just start randomly gluing things together and making some sort of shape that you're not quite sure where it's going to go. Sometimes that can work and it can be quite a nice organic sort of process, but for something like this that I want a certain amount of structure to, I think it's best to just do a few little options, lay it out on the table, sketch it out, mark them out, work out a bit of a plan of attack. Get an idea of what you're trying to achieve, because then when it comes to the gluing, you've got a nice clear direction of what you're trying to make, and it should be a lot easier. That way, so we can do that way, then that way for the 2 dimensions, and then even shorter ones, there's little diagonals coming that way. Your dad would like one of these. Yeah. Wouldn't he? He'd like, oh, look, made of nails, look, or screws. He'd like it. On the tree at home? Do you not think he would? If you made it for him and gave it to him, he'd be like, oh.
Maybe.
Wouldn't he? Even you could hang it in his shed. I think I would start flat, build it, stick it together and make a flat one first. And that could work. If it's going against a wall, against a surface, you might want to leave it flat. But to add another dimension and bring it out upwards as well would be really quite nice. But I think first things first, let's get the thing stuck together in one 2-dimensional shape and see where we are. There are various ways you can stick these screws together. The super glue might work, but you're at a very fine point. I'm going to try and use a hot glue gun. I think I got this from Hobbycraft or somewhere. Very, very cheap, very, safe to use. The end does get hot, but not really hot. Good thing about this, the beauty of this, is it sets really, really quickly. So hopefully, if I've got my pattern all laid out on the table, one blob of this in the middle, let that set, and it should stick together. hasn't worked at all. Why isn't it working? Why won't the glue gun stick screws together? Right, forget the glue gun. Glue gun is not working. Let's start again. I don't know why, I've tried that twice. I've got some epoxy, which is brilliant stuff. I'm gonna lay this small one out on my piece of tape and glue that together with some of this epoxy. Don't be like me, wear gloves, but it's basically a two-part resin almost. So at the moment in this tubes, they're completely separate. As you squeeze them out, they come out in two little separate shoots, and when you mix them together, a chemical reaction happens between the two, and in a few minutes, maybe in this cold weather, it might be 10 minutes or so, it dries rock hard. So I've got mix these up together now, and then I've got a few minutes to lay everything out and put a blob of this glue in the middle. Very good tip when you're using epoxies and glues like this, is put a little bit of tape on the table, on the surface. Then that stops whatever you're working on, your snowflake that you're making, actually sticking to the counter, to the worktop. Because you can just peel off the tape and then peel it off the back. I want it to drip down between the screws, a bit like a Christmas pudding with the icing on, with the, what is it on top you put? The cream. That's gone really well. That epoxy is all seeped into the threads on the screws. That's going to work really, really well. I can see it already. Perfect. And it's really quite neat. It's blended off nicely. Trouble is, that is going to take about 10 minutes, maybe a bit more, to go off, and I'm not that patient. Luckily, I've got one more way of sticking these things together. Well, my epoxy one is still drying. In that time, I've made 2 snowflakes. I will be the first to admit that that is not my finest piece of welding, but for this, it really does not matter. So just don't beat yourself up about doing the perfect weld on something like this. A coat of silver paint, that's going to be ready to hang on the tree. I'd call that another success. Transformed some old rusty nails or some screws, whatever you can find, and turn them into a beautiful Christmas decoration.